Well, hello, and welcome back, or welcome to Pizza's podcast. How is everybody doing on this lovely Sunday? Good? Are we all epic? Are we all cozy? Because we've got some new stuff today. Something that hasn't been on the podcast ever before. Thank you for that watch streak, Mikado. Thank you for the raid. Mwah! Big kisses. I hope your runs get better. All the GG for that. But yes, we have something new. We're dipping our toes into something new on the podcast. Plastic men painting. Gray's fault, of course, since he paints in hobbies on his stream. But since I've become very interested in all of the detail work and stuff, I was like, perhaps I should have someone very knowledgeable and intelligent in the art of painting plastic men on my podcast, and I found such a person today. A very, very talented streamer called MiniMatties. We're going to bring him on, and we're going to have chats about the ins, the how-tos, the outs, all of the cool stuff about painting miniatures today. Yes, knowledgeable and intelligent. Yes, I'm talking about you. But we're going to bring him on, and we're going to have some chats. Yes, are we ready? Indeed. Matties, are you there?
I am.
Holy shit! That music is loud. Hang on, one second. It's not the chicken this time. It's the music. Anyway, yes. Well, let's welcome Mr. MiniMatties to the podcast.
Hello.
Hello. I hope you are doing well today.
Sure am. Yes.
With all
Hope
of your
everyone in chat is
preparations
too.
and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a busy day, but a good one.
That's good. It's always good to be busy. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Because
In a good kind, yes.
I like the background work to streaming, all of picking out the music and the layouts and everything. I really dig that part. Not saying that the overall reward from it, from showing it off and putting it into action isn't good, but I like the background work too. Also awesome.
Mhm.
Okay, so MiniMatties.
Yes.
So you've never been on my stream before, so I'm gonna poke your brain a little bit. So how long?
I've watched your streams, but I haven't
Yeah, you haven't
appeared
actually
on them. Yeah.
appeared on them. So we're gonna ask you a couple of questions. I hope you don't mind.
Yeah,
When
go
did
for
you
it.
start streaming your painting on Twitch?
31st of March, 2020.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Very specific, because next week is my anniversary, so that's why I exactly know it actually. Corona hit. Everyone was on lockdown. We're not allowed to go outside. I wanted to paint more anyway, and all of a sudden I had all the spare time that I wanted to, and so I decided, let's give myself a schedule, give me a reason to get out of bed on time as well, and start streaming.
I have a feeling that a lot of people started poking into the streaming genre around that time. You're trapped in the
sure,
house.
yes.
You're trapped in the house. We gotta find something to do. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But that's pretty cool. Have you always liked art, like painting miniatures or doing canvas art or digital art?
So I've started painting my first miniature when I was, I think, 10 or 11.
Wow.
So quite a while ago. But when it comes to other art, canvas, 2D, digital, whatever, I never had interest, and I suck at it, like big time.
Really? I would imagine
Yeah.
that you'd be really good at it since you have so
No.
much detail in some of your minis. Like that armor is crazy. I was looking at it, I was like,
can't
it's
draw for shit.
it's like looking at it, like you can see the little scuff marks and it's so shiny. I'm like, oh, it's so good. But yeah.
So other art never really never gotten into it. I nowadays I find it very interesting because I can learn a lot from it for the miniatures that I paint.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, never really gotten into it. No.
Interesting. So goes in hand. Were you always interested in Warhammer then?
It started off with Warhammer. Let me put it like that. So, as with most people, if you are starting to get into miniatures, the first miniatures you usually find are either D&D related or are Warhammer models. So many people start off with Warhammer, and it was the same case for me. Learning the game at the same time as you're painting your army up. For the people that don't know what Warhammer is at all, think of like advanced chess
Really
in
advanced
a way.
chess.
Like you have a full army on the table, so does your opponent, and every unit in that army can do different movements and attacks and such. So yeah, you're learning the game. Like I said, I was 10, 11 when I painted my first army. I think I started playing Warhammer when I was 16, which was the second time I got back into painting. A bit more serious then already. So yeah, I started painting up my first army, enjoyed the game. Yeah. But nowadays, my focus has shifted a bit more. Actually away from Warhammer, more into larger scale models, more like display stuff, busts, those kind of things. Basically, like the knight you're seeing on my stream that I've been painting up recently is not a gaming piece. It's not a model that has any purpose in any kind of game. It's literally just a piece that you like put on a shelf and look at it.
Those are nice too, though.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So do you get them from hobby shops? Do you order them online?
Usually online, yeah, because like Warhammer you find in local hobby shops. Most of the other stuff, though, the more specific stuff, you don't really find in like local stores. So most of them are online or 3D printed. Many of the models that I have around are 3D printed as well. Secondhand or on kind of conventions. Conventions is always a good part.
Yes. Yes. Nerdy conventions are always the best. Okay. Cool. Just trying to feel you out there for a little bit. It's
Of course.
it's like all right. See what kind of if you're all cracked out into it, or if you just do it, because I love watching people paint miniatures, but I don't actually do it. Speaking of the devil,
Yep, there he is.
here he is. Welcome in, Gray. Thank you for interrupting. Hello, Ashiwa.
Wow, Gray.
You interrupted my podcast. How rude.
Jeez.
Oh, he's just like that, I guess. I don't know. All right, so let's get into the meat of the sandwich today, since we're talking about sandwiches. We actually weren't, but we were talking about it earlier today. So, what are the essentials if the person brand new, a little nooblet, wants to get into the painting?
The essentials.
Mhm.
Well, if we're talking like basics,
Very basics.
some paints, obviously.
Yes,
A model to paint, obviously, and brushes.
that's it.
Yeah, I mean, you don't really need anything else. Let me move the mic a bit closer. Is this better, Gray? Does this suit your voice?
Is he quiet?
Your ears a bit better?
Let me get. I am always too loud. I have not got the great balance of this yet. All right, we will turn you up. There we go, Matties.
Yeah, in all honesty, some paints, brush, and a model is really all you need to start off with.
Is there a specific brand they should start with that works better?
There are some brands that are, in my opinion, a bit harder to learn with, and there are some that are a bit easier to learn the game with. If you want to learn, you want to make it easy for yourself. Have a look into like AK Interactive, Vallejo, in terms of paints. That is. Citadel is good as well, but it's expensive. That's basically the paint brand from Warhammer themselves.
Mm-hmm. Of course, they'd have their own.
Of course.
Yes.
Paints that I would not recommend for new painters are paints like Skill 75. Even though they're really, really nice, they're kind of hard to learn painting with. Same goes with Chimeras, for instance. So yeah, I would just stick to either AK or Vallejo. They're like the go-to, and it's actually, I think AK is 95% of what I'm using up to today as well.
So when you say they're hard to work with, do they dry really fast, or are they
Skill 75 has a different medium, so most paints use water as a medium to thin the paints down. Skill 75 uses gel, which means it behaves different than the other paints, which means mixing makes it a bit harder. Getting the smooth blends out of them, that kind of stuff makes it like it's tougher to learn with them.
Okay. So when you said that you need just brushes, what kind of brushes would be best? The little super tiny ones, I assume.
To start off with,
yeah.
Usually people want to go as small as possible with their first brushes, but don't even do that. Like, if we're looking at sizes, most people who don't know anything about brush sizes, they will not like know anything about this then, from what I'm saying. But go from like grab a size 2 and a size 0. But there's usually packs, cheaper brushes for a few quid, just pick up one of those. Don't go super fancy. Don't buy like $20 euro pound brushes right from the start, because you will ruin them within a week, because you're new to them. You need to learn how to use the tools. So don't go super fancy with the brushes right from the get-go, because it will just cost you lots and lots of money, while at the same time the cheap ones will do for you at the beginning anyway. So yeah, I'd say start off with, I don't know, like a dollar store brushes. Yeah, that works. Go for that. Just to learn, have fun, and that's in the end what it's all about, having fun in the hobby.
It looks really fun. It's just that I'm completely blind, so I can't see all those little... I'm gonna need bifocals. I'm gonna be like this old librarian staring at it, because I have to take my glasses off to actually draw anything nowadays, and it's horrible, and I don't want to admit that I need them. But yeah, it takes a lot of getting that brush right in those little crevices and make the perfect like highlight or whatever. It's just so neat. It's so neat. Okay, so
you could go for a larger scale. Like, I'm also repainting anime figurines every now and then, for instance.
oh, okay.
They're like 30 centimeters ish, 12-inch size. That's, a lot bigger than a small miniature, and doesn't need to be super small all the time. So if you're struggling with that, there's models out there that, are suited for people
Blind
with
people.
bad eyesight.
Very, very blind. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the bust you were showing today with the lady with the headdress. That probably something that'd be fun to paint, because like it's bigger, and it's just it's very nice scaling. But
Yeah, so for miniature painters, that thing is huge.
I would imagine so, considering how tiny the miniatures are actually. Yeah, they have to hold them in there. It's like, oh my god, it's so tiny. But yeah, I guess I like just painting things really big. So, but it's really cool, really cool. So you do anime figurines as well, and game figurines.
Yeah. So, like, game-related stuff, for instance, I have a little bust here from Cloud Strife, Final Fantasy VII.
Oh.
Which is a 3D print that I still need to start working on. It's actually a bust that I'm going to use in a coaching session that I'm doing with one of the people here from Twitch.
Oh, well, you do coaching sessions too?
Yeah.
You are a well-rounded man.
With that like a month ago, but
nice.
Yeah.
Nice. You guys hear that?
Like, I have a bust here from Doctor Doom. So going into Marvel, a bust of a Mandalorian. There's all kinds of stuff out there.
Now you're speaking my language. I'm a huge Star Wars nut, so I got married on Star Wars Day, so.
Nice,
yes. That'd be cool. Mandalorian.
Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff out there that, like, especially once you start looking into 3D printing stuff, or 3D prints in general, what is available on the market, the possibilities are honestly endless. Think of something game-related or movie-related or any fandom related, and you will find a file on the internet that can be 3D printed.
3D printers are pretty hefty in price, though, I'd imagine.
It's honestly not even that bad nowadays. And like I said, I've just asked someone. There's usually nowadays people around you that own like a small 3D printing business, for instance. Like the Mandalorian bust that I have here cost me, I think, 12 euros.
That's not
done. Bad. And I have another model to paint, so it's really not that bad.
Okay. Something to think about. All right, so do you paint things already assembled, or do you paint them in pieces? Because I've seen people paint them in pieces as well.
Yeah, so that is always a thing. I've seen people paint things literally still on the sprue. So sprue is basically the little plastic bracket that all the parts come in. I've literally seen people paint the pieces on there and then clip them off and then start gluing the model together, which in my opinion is not the right way to do it, because after you have to clip it off again, you will partially ruin your paint job, so please don't do that. Then again, if that's your way of painting, it's your hobby, go for it.
Right.
I try to assemble as much as I can without having parts being in the way. So, for instance, the Lothric Knight that I'm working on, the Kneeling Knight with the sword in front of him, the arm that holds the sword was off for most of it. Because the sword is in the way to reach the leg behind and like have a proper view and everything. But at the same time, if I would have just been painting that arm, I don't know the right position on the arm, so I don't know where would the light hit it to paint in the right reflections, for instance. So that's why I'm trying to assemble as much as I can, but if there's parts that are in the way, I'll leave them off.
Okay, so they're making more work for themselves essentially because they don't know how the light's going to hit it.
Exactly.
Accents are going to make it. I got you.
Then I would start painting it, look at it, glue it on, and like, oh, everything looks wrong now because my light source is in the wrong direction, for instance.
Right.
And that would just mean like, cool, now I have to do it all over again.
Yeah, no.
Exactly.
Like, I don't want
This
to.
is taking such a long time. I don't want to do it over again.
Right. So, if speaking of making mistakes like that, is it you would have to like completely white it out, or is there like a cleaner to clean it off, or because I'm unfamiliar with that. Because usually, with acrylics, you just paint over it with some other color or blend it in so it makes it disappear.
Yeah. These are acrylics as well. I'm using acrylic paints.
Oh, okay. I thought the model paints would be different and had something else.
Exactly the same.
Okay.
You can use oils as well, but oils, it's the same story. Once they're dry, you can paint over them. You can strip the models, so especially for newer people that start out painting, getting used to paint consistency, thinning them down nicely, nice thin coats, so you keep all the details on your model, etc., is something that can be hard. Especially if you then have to do some certain parts over and over and over again. After 3-4 coats, they might become a bit thick, the paint on there, and basically ruin your details.
Mm-hmm.
So you can, as we like to call it, strip the model. Basically like an isopropyl alcohol or bioethanol or some washing detergent can basically strip the paint off the plastic again, or whatever material your model is made from. And then you can just start over.
Okay.
But parts on my knight, for instance, I think I've redone some parts 3 times, and there's parts that I'm still not happy with, so I'll just black them out and start over again on them.
Doesn't that suck? It's like, I don't like it. I'm gonna fix it. Yeah, after you work so hard on it.
I mean, at the end, there's usually little parts, and after redoing them, I'm always happier than they looked before, because there's a reason why I'm redoing them, of course.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it's always like, okay, this sort of worked, but not in the way that I wanted it, so let's redo it and like become better. That's what it's all about for me when I'm painting projects like these, when I'm pouring 50 plus hours into a model. I want to become better at this. So yeah, that's what I'm going for.
What is the average time frame for painting a little teeny weeny little man? Like, would it be a couple days, month? I guess depending on how much texture you're gonna put in it.
Just got cut out there for a second, Lizzie. So what was the question?
Oh, sorry. Hang on. We cut out. Oh! I said, what is the basic time frame for painting a mini? Like an average.
That really differs on what you're looking for.
Okay.
I've painted models in an hour.
Mm-hmm.
I have a model downstairs that took me 100.
Ooh.
So, and it's still not done actually.
Okay.
So that really depends on what you're looking for. Usually, if you go in army painting, so if you want to play the game with them, speed is your best friend. So you're going for less details. You're going for some techniques that are faster, like dry brushes and such, which can really be speed. Like what Gray does, or what Gray did, I have to say, because nowadays Gray is not an army painter anymore. He can't do it anymore. But that basically means like, cool, I'm base coating everything. So base coat just means a coat of paint on all the parts. No fancy blends, no highlights, no shadows, whatever. It's just one coat of paint. Everything, it has this color. And then from there, you either give it a wash, which is a very thinned down paint that then runs in the crevices of the models to shade it down. Or you give it something that we call a dry brush, which basically means you put paint on a brush and then remove said paint again. So the brush is actually dry, but it still has some paint on there. Mm. And then you just lightly brush over it, usually like a makeup brush and such. It's very good for that, actually. So it only hits the raised areas of the model. So add highlights to it. And that's, you call the model done by then.
Okay.
That is tabletop quality. That's good to play the game with. That's perfect for tournaments. Done.
Okay.
You won't win best painted with it, though.
Quick and dirty.
If you want to go, yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Like I've done, I think, 24 models in 4 hours time with that.
Wow. Okay.
And so you can go speed, and that's also when you go into batch painting. At least you shouldn't win best painted, yes, Patrick. So But yeah, that's what you call basically batch painting. So, for instance, if you do the eyes or a weapon of a model, you have 20 of the same models lined up, and you do all the weapons, you do all the armors, you do all the skin, you do all the shoes, you do all of this. So you can just repeat the same step over and over and over. It basically becomes factory work. Which is also what I did not like about this.
Okay.
So I don't do it.
Okay.
I can't. I'll get crazy if I have to do it.
Okay. Yeah, it's a repetitive motion drives some people crazy. So.
Yeah.
I gotcha.
Yeah, I need to be able to like release my creativity on it and like have fun with it, play around, change stuff up.
Mm-hmm.
And if I have to repeat the same thing 20 times in a row because it needs to look the same on the table, I'll go nuts.
Okay, I gotcha. So, do you have to prime your little guys when you paint them?
Usually it's the best thing to do, yes. Especially, so what the primer does is basically it helps the paints that you will apply afterwards to stick onto your model.
Okay.
Sometimes the plastic or resin or metal, whatever the model is made of, can get greasy, so your paint doesn't stick all too well on it, or there's some mold release still on there, which is like a stuff that they use to get the molds out of the sprues out of the molds very easy. And that all basically causes the paint not to stick onto your model as well. So it will peel off at some point, and you basically damage your models. A primer can help with that.
Right.
So I prime all my models. I know some people don't, but just out of like to make sure, I'll prime all of them always. Yeah.
I was reading something, an article where they said that they don't prime their models and everything is fine. I was like, okay, that's a good question to ask then. Doing a little bit of research, you know.
Yeah. Like I said, some people don't do it, and for most models, I think it should be fine. Especially with the paints that we have nowadays, they're of such high quality and pigmentation that usually the paint is sticking onto the model. But if we're looking at resin models, resin cast models, so the fancier stuff that you can buy, the display models, not the army models, they usually have that mold release stuff on them, so you need to wash them first and prime them first to make sure your paint does not peel off. Because I've seen, sadly, some people work on a bust, making it look beautiful, and all of a sudden, like, their layers just came off, and you're like, well, it's time to start over again.
Yeah, so to be safe, priming would be best. Okay.
Yeah.
I got you.
And it can also help you either reset the colors. So with the anime figurines, of course, when I buy them, they already have like that factory colors basically on them. So I prime them in gray to just reset all the colors underneath, so I can paint over them without having my color being influenced by what's underneath.
Okay.
Because it does make a difference if you paint a green on top of a black or on top of a white, for instance. On top of the white, the green will become lighter. On top of the black, the green will become darker.
Mm-hmm.
If we're looking at other models, I always prime black just to help, because whatever you miss on the model is then black, which means that's shadow. Cool, I don't need to paint that.
Okay, everybody write that down. That's a tip. Yeah, it would make sense. Add a little bit of shadow on that.
Yeah, so I usually always prime black and just leave them black, and then it's stuff like, oh, it's underneath the arms or whatever. Cool, that's black. I don't need to paint that anymore. If I can't reach it with the brush, it's usually a spot I don't need to paint.
Okay. So there is kind of a up and down about whether paint is better or airbrush is better. I guess it's all on preference, I suppose.
Yes. Yeah, it's on preference, it's on speed, it's on time. I had a private coaching session with like one of the best in the world in January here. A full day on, and he mostly uses brush, which is my preference as well, but sometimes uses the airbrush to like apply little filters of paint, so like a very thin layer with the airbrush to either smoothen out transitions, or just like add a tiny bit of color to a certain effect that you're trying to create. Airbrush for bigger stuff is amazing, big vehicles and such. If you want to go for OSL, which means object source lighting, so if you have like a lamp, for instance, on a model that should emit light, for that kind of stuff, airbrush is perfect as well because it gives this smoothened out edge basically around the spray area, which emits or simulates the effect of light quite easily. So for those type of things, the airbrush is perfect. I am a brush guy, I have to say. I rarely use my airbrush for other things than priming.
Okay.
Just because I enjoy working with the brush more than with the airbrush. But it's preference.
Same goes for like digital and old school art. I'm more of the old
Yeah,
art.
yeah,
I like the
totally is,
hands-on
yeah.
paint. I mean, if I don't have it all over myself, then it's not a good piece of art. So, but yeah. So I guess that's cool. That's cool. Cool thing. Okay, so you were talking about dry brushing. You
Yeah.
said there was techniques to that. You want to go into some detail?
Oh, and if we're talking painting techniques, there's many techniques out there. And I can like list a few names that everyone in chat, except for the painters that are in here, will go like, "The fuck is he talking about?"
Well, just a couple of them and a little bit description of what they are.
Yeah, sure. So yeah, like I said, dry brushing. It's basically in the name. You're using a dry brush, so a brush that barely holds any paint anymore, feels dry to the touch, and whenever you basically brush over the model in just an up and down motion, only the raised areas will catch that tiny bit of paint that you still have in your brush, and everything else should stay the same the way it is at that point. That's dry brushing. You have something that's called glazing, which is a very thinned down paint, almost like dirty paint water consistency, which you use to either help smoothing out the transition between two colors, to blend them, or to add different colors into shadows or highlights. So my night, for instance, all these reflections of the candles, there's a lot of glazing involved to smoothen them out, get it right there where it needs to be. There's feathering, which is also a way of blending. With feathering, you basically make tiny strokes with the brush, lined next to each other, and you apply your next layer with the same tiny strokes just right next to it. And because they're all tiny lines and not solid brush strokes, the lines start blending together and create the transition for you as well. Especially like feathering in combination with a glaze can work really well to create a nice and smooth blend. But yeah, there's many different styles if you want to like continue like that.
Sorry, I had a cough there.
Oh, no problem.
I don't know. It's just all trying to die on my own spit.
Yeah, and
I apologize.
like people in chat also said, like it's your own style of painting matters so much in terms of what techniques you're using and what type of tools you're using, what your interests are in types of models. Like if you're looking at, because for instance, I paint mostly for competitions because that's what I'm really enjoy doing.
Okay.
But if you're looking at what the pros do, so like the highest category that you can enter and the guys that are winning gold and such in there, which by the way make like insane pieces that if you look at them you're like, that's not a miniature, and I'm like, yes, that's a miniature. If you're looking at they do, everyone, even though they're all on the same level of technique, which is the perfect level, basically the master level, their styles differ so much. And once you start getting into like that corner of the hobby, sometimes you can look at a model and you can just recognize who painted it simply by the style it's painted in, even though the techniques are all the same.
Nice.
Just the way they're using colors, the way they're building up highlights, the way they're painting their metallics, the way they're painting their eyes, whatever, can really make a model recognizable by the painter who made it, for instance.
So I heard.
Actually, in my own community, I have the same. I can look at a couple of models that are people posting, and I know, for instance, if it's from Veltec or from Space Toy or others in the community, because we all have our own style.
Sorry, my throat. Sorry about
It's a good
that.
thing. I'm doing most of the talking today.
No, it's fine. It's just like I'm trying to kill myself over here.
Please don't.
So do you use decals at all?
No, never.
Okay, because I saw some on the list I was looking
to use them.
Hmm?
Just don't know how to use them.
Oh, you don't. Okay. I was looking through
Secret.
different articles, and some use decals on their actual painting.
Yeah,
So
many
I was like,
do, many do.
okay. So
I am Grey. I am big noob. Yes.
but he's a talented noob.
Told you want intelligible, knowledgeable. You have the wrong guy, but hey.
No, you are very intelligent. You just all of the cool knowledge that we're learning today, we're sucking up like a sponge. All right, play or display?
For me, display. For me, display all the way.
Okay.
Like I said earlier, pouring those like 50+ hours onto a model, and going all out and trying to push my skills and improve and everything. That's where it's for me.
Okay. I could imagine you get a lot of wear and tear on the ones that you're actually playing with after all of that work. So I can imagine some people. Do you have cases for yours at home?
I have display cases, just like a display. The painted collection or the backlog?
Whichever you want to tell me.
The painted collection, yeah, because we'd rather not talk about the backlog.
Okay.
It's actually not that big. I literally made pictures of my painted display models yesterday from what I have in the cabinets here, and I think, let me do a quick count. Yeah, 7.
7 completed.
7
cabinets?
completely painted models.
Oh, 7 models. I was like, seven cabinets?
Models.
Oh my goodness. But
Nope, 7 models. That's it. Because I tend to give a lot of stuff away once it's done, or sell it, or whatever. Yeah, I don't have that many models here anymore. I think if we're counting the like army stuff that I've painted, we're close to 40. With the anime figurines, maybe 50, but that's about it.
But you do giveaways of your miniatures too, so.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, I do commissions for others sometimes. So sometimes what I'm painting is not even for me. Shut up, Gray.
What is that? Do I want to know?
Nothing.
Okay.
No.
All right. I won't ask. Not all Val's into on it now too. It's like
it's a model that I painted at some point, and I hated myself for doing it.
You hated
I'm glad
yourself.
I sold it the second it was done.
Oh, was it a big model?
It was quite a big model, and I started painting it. Then I took a break of a month and a half to organize a challenge in my Discord to push a certain skill. And then coming back to that model after a month and a half, I looked at it and I was like, God, that thing looks trash, but I didn't want to start over, so
Isn't that the way of art, though? I mean, you look at something you painted like a couple years ago and go, what is that horrific beast that let's hide it somewhere?
Yeah. Yeah, usually is, which is why I'm giving them away. So I don't have to look at them anymore.
Right. And then you look at my new stuff and it's like, yes, look how far I've come from Stickman to Picasso.
Exactly. I just keep the pretty pieces.
Right. Because you always have to perfect that skill. It's like, no, that's still trash. Nope, that's still trash. Oh, this is okay. I like it for today.
For today, yeah. Next week, my opinion will change about you, but for now, it's all right.
Right. And you were talking about your backlog. I have a serious hobby backlog. I do diamond painting. I do regular painting. I do bullet journaling. So I have crap everywhere. I swear to God, our dining room is not a dining room anymore. It's a house for all of my art stuff.
Yeah.
It's so bad.
I can send you pictures that will prove that probably your backlog block is not that bad.
Okay. Okay, you'll have to send them to me. Serial crafter, yes, art queen,
yeah,
yes.
Fricka is probably worse, but when we're talking display models, I'm afraid that I have probably the biggest backlog that.
Don't worry, Matties. I will be interviewing Fricka very soon.
Good.
So we're going to be talking about our crafting problems.
Good. It's not a problem, though. I mean, if you enjoy it, then why not?
It's a clean headspace.
My backlog is a problem, but yours should not be.
Yeah, I do diamond painting for anxiety problems, and I do other types of hobbies for just expression. You know what I mean? Because diamond painting's so precise and it's very routine, so it just kind of focuses you, so you can just forget about everything else. But regular painting is like, yes, I have this whacked out idea about a dinosaur riding a rocket and eating a donut. I want to paint this, and it's like, you're gonna paint it. You're gonna do it. It possesses you, and you have to do it, no matter what.
So, the way you talk about diamond painting is basically army painting.
Really?
Very repetitive, very precise, very
Mhm.
that's army painting.
Okay.
And then the way you describe regular painting, that's what I would see as display painting.
Okay. Okay. Cool. I wish I would have stolen some of your pictures from Instagram.
I could send them to
amazing.
you on Discord right away if you want.
Because it's you have amazing art. Amazing art. Just the texture and the highlights and everything. Guys, go follow Matties! Go do it! But yeah.
It's alright. Can be better.
See, that's a perfect. You definitely have the the artist heart, because it's like it's okay, it's all right.
Yeah,
it's never perfect.
exactly.
It's all right. I'm good.
Exactly.
All right, so we want to talk about the different painting styles, like the cell shade kind of style, or super smooth, or is there like a matte kind of style?
Yeah,
I just think it goes really with the artist again, I guess.
Yes, that's really depending on the style that you want, which can differ per artist, but it can also differ per model.
Mm-hmm.
So if you, for instance, look at the anime figurines that I'm repainting, I could make them super realistic, super smooth, everything blended together and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't really fit the style of the model because the model is from an anime.
Mm-hmm.
So it needs to have the cell shade style, for instance, which usually is just solid coats, black lining, and not really super fancy stuff, other than where are you placing your highlights. Whereas if you look at my competition models, the Knight, for instance, that I'm working on, that needs to be as smooth as it can, textures where they should be, all the light sources and everything needs to be perfectly like worked out on that thing, for me at least. So yeah, that's all the different styles. There is the most people that are known for this style called Craft World Studios, which is a couple that are doing this. They're, for instance, using lots and lots of colors for their style, so they have a very sketchy way of painting. Nothing is super smooth with them, but the way they're using their colors makes it look really smooth, even though it's not.
So you keep talking about this competition. Is it a big competition? What do you win during this competition? What are the rules of this competition? Apparently words are hard for me today. So
the competition that I'm entering had last year around 2,500 entries.
Wow.
So it's quite a big competition, yes. There is, I think, 30 odd categories, going from historical models, so then you're actually talking about a real-life knight, or Napoleon, or some Second World War models, or very historical art pieces that also need to be painted like they were back in those days. Going to the pictures are quite big.
They're huge. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. I'll get it sized down. Hang on. Oh my god, he's so big.
Yeah,
Wait,
planes.
sure we shouldn't do that.
There's tanks. There's boats. There's dioramas. There's fantasy figures, which is the category that I'm mostly in. There was a new category last year called ambient. There was a category called small scale, which is everything like Warhammer related models in terms of size. So yeah, there's lots of different categories, and usually those categories have a standard category and a masters category.
Okay.
So basically, standard was what most people enter, and masters is where like the real battle between the models is going on. I am still entering standard.
Okay.
But hopefully this might be my last year in standard. But that depends on, like, I first want to grab a gold in standard before moving on to masters, basically.
I love this little guy.
The caterpillar is fun. He's actually quite big for a model, but yeah.
Yeah, but look at the highlights and the texture on this. It's insane. I love it. So cool.
Yeah, he started out as a fun, quick project, and then turned out to not be a quick project anymore. Still a fun one though, but yeah.
If you're ever gonna get rid of that, Matties, I want it. It's so cool. Anyway, well,
Well.
thank you for sharing for that. What's that?
You might. I said, well.
Well,
You might get a chance at some point.
If you ever get rid of it, Pizzachan wants it. All right. What was my other? Okay, so we're getting to the end of the questions minus the loop and the energy of today. Top 5 tips for beginners.
Ooh. So the one tip that everyone will probably tell you: look at others for inspiration, but don't compare your work directly with them.
Okay.
Because everyone is like on their own journey. Everyone is at a different point. Don't look at someone who's been doing this for 25 years or who's doing this for their job professionally while you just started. It makes sense that there's difference between the model you painted, because it's your first, second, third model, compared to someone who's doing, who's like working on their 25,000th model, for instance. It makes sense that their model looks different than yours.
True.
So look at that stuff for inspiration, but don't compare yourself to them. I would say that's like number one tip that goes out to everyone, because sometimes when you're looking at what the pros can do, it can get very demotivating for many, many people. Sometimes in chat we're joking about it as well, like, you know, if you see someone posting a very cool model, people go like, cool, let me just break my brushes, I'll throw them in the bin, I'm done. Why am I even doing this?
Right.
We're joking about this, but for some people, it can actually be like that. It can really be demotivating seeing what others can do in this hobby. So that's what I'm saying. Try to get inspired, but don't compare.
Very good tip.
If we're going easy tips.
Yeah, easy tips.
Thin your paints down a tiny bit, because usually otherwise the coats you're putting on are too thick. Clean your brushes nicely after you work with them, because that will just make sure they last longer. Use a wet palette. You don't have to buy one, you can make one yourself. A wet palette is basically a piece of, I'm using baking paper right now. You have official papers for them, but I actually recently switched to baking paper because it's cheaper. On top of a sponge with water, basically just to keep the paints wet, so you can keep on working with those paints without them drying out instantly on you. So that will just save you lots of paint in the end, and you can literally just make one out of a plastic box that you have at home from some kind of food. Put a sponge in it and some baking tray paper, done.
Painting hacks with Matties.
Yes. Google it on YouTube, or like search for it on YouTube, wet palette homemade, and you find thousands of videos how to make one. It's super easy, and it's really helping you out. Or
YouTube's
if you want to spend some money, just buy one. What other tips do we have? Sometimes keep it simple. Don't think, oh, I have a different part in the model, I need a different color. Because if your model already has blue, red, greens, you might not need yellow, purple, and orange on the model anymore. Unless you're painting a clown, then maybe, but you know, try to work with more.
No.
I painted a clown in the past.
Oh. Yeah, no. Okay. They're creepy. No clowns for me, please.
Yeah. That's also a very good one, actually, Valtek. Yes. Keep your first model that you ever painted. It will look shit. I can tell you that already. But you can always go back and look. Cool. If you're looking at that model from that pro painter that you're looking up to, you can always also go back and look at your first model and see the improvements you had between your first and your 5th, your 10th, your 20th. I still have my first model around here somewhere. I don't know exactly where, but it's somewhere around here. I think it's actually here in the display. I'm not 100% sure. It should be around somewhere.
That usually goes for any type of art. Hey, keep your first piece. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
keep
you
your
go
first
look
piece,
at it and go,
either for motivation or just for reference. Yeah.
Yeah.
Comparing.
Anything else?
I think those should be the tips for now. Yeah. Have fun.
Yeah, have fun.
If you don't like what you're doing, don't do it. It's a hobby.
I don't think I need any more hobbies, but it sounds really interesting. And we have so many hobby shops up here, and it just like calls to me. Well, buy it. You just got your paycheck. Go in and look. No, please don't.
I mean, you
Yeah.
have the paints already, right? You have acrylic paints.
I do. I have lots of acrylic paint.
There you go. Might not be like super high. It depends on the paints that you're using usually, but
Yeah, since I've been doing the horror movie posters on stream, I actually broke like two brushes. They were that old. So I was like, I have to go out and buy new brushes. They literally snapped on my stream. I'm like, what the heck?
nice.
So I had to go out and buy a whole bunch of new paintbrushes. And my husband goes, finally, after like 10 years. Like, I'm sorry. I'm very cheap when it comes to art stuff, because art stuff is not cheap in general.
No.
Especially if you want good quality stuff. So I've been working from like Walmart paints my way up. So it's like, okay, we'll work with what we got here. But yeah, so I got a bunch of new paintbrushes. So I love them.
Nice. Yeah, if you have any like heavy body acrylic paints, for instance, which are usually more on the expensive side, those can be used to paint miniatures as well. I mean, you can also use Walmart acrylic paints, but they won't cover as well, as you probably noticed on canvas and such as well.
Right. Yeah, because it's very, very thin, so you want to get the heavy, more consistent paint.
Yeah, either model paint, but if you have heavy body acrylics already, then you can use those, for instance. So you don't need to buy.
I have a disturbing rack on my desk. I call it my command center, because it's got this tower of like notebooks and washi tape and paint. I swear to God, I probably could feed a small country with the. If you sold everything here, it would be really, really expensive. So.
So you have brushes, you have paints. All you need is models.
I need models now. No, I don't need models. What am I saying, Matties? I can't have any more hobbies. It's bad enough my husband finds gems everywhere.
Does anyone have Pizzachan's address, people? We can sort that out.
No. Please don't send me anything. Unless you're sending me the Caterpillar Man. No. So, guys, do you have any questions for Mr. MiniMatties before we close out? The floor is open. And be nice.
Frick has a model for you. Baltic Consented Care Community Care Package. There you go. Sorted. You got your models, Pizza. Mini painting stream on Pizzachan's channel soon. Let's go.
We'll see. Like I need.
Maybe it's not a no chat.
No questions for the super intelligent, super efficient MiniMatties.
The dumb boy here. Yes. Me.
Dumb boy. Also, I heard a rumor that his anniversary is coming up, 4 years. So
yes,
mine is actually coming up too. Mine is next month at the end of the month.
Oh, so, nice.
Yeah, so it's like, oh, that's cool. He's all hyped. So if you want to promo yourself, you can do that. So you're having a big thing going on, painting.
Well, yeah. So next week Sunday, 4-year anniversary stream on Twitch. Probably make it a longer stream, 8 to 10 hours. I think. Not sure what I'll work on. I have some chibi related models incoming from like Star Wars and games and such, which I'm prepping for TwitchCon, because I have a spot in the artist alley in TwitchCon Amsterdam or TwitchCon Rotterdam.
Oh, you're gonna be there? That's awesome.
Yes, I have a booth, so that'll be very cool. So I'll probably working on some of those models.
Cool.
And I have some giveaways, like the big lady that I showed off earlier, the bust that you're talking about, Pizza. That's actually one of the giveaways. So yeah.
Okay. No, don't tell me that. Don't tell me that. All right, yeah, guys, go follow Matties. He's an amazing person. These are my questions. Oh, you're asking him those are the questions? Oh God, he's
excited for next week. Yes. Does the man regret Ireland existing? No. Otherwise, we would have never met Gray. Easy.
Some people never met Gray. Yeah, it's true. It's true. He's very unique, isn't he? Well, all right.
Unique is probably the right description of it for him. Yeah.
Yes, he's very unique. So, just dropping stuff on the floor. Hang on. Well, thank you so much for coming to join me, Matties. I'm so sorry about the chaos. Apparently, my power
decided... I did not expect anything else.
I didn't expect my power to go out and everything to get all crazy, but I appreciate you coming on, and I hope you inspired some peoples in my chat, the non-mini painters, to go out and check it out and become crazy with the paints as well, because that's pretty cool. Guys, go follow and check out Minnie's channel, and I can't talk again because my throat hurts from earlier. So yeah, but thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate it.
You're more than welcome. More than welcome. And well, like I said, soon you can probably inspire the people themselves, because all we need is an address and we'll get that sorted.
Yeah, I'll do my first painting stream. Yes. If I get up to 900 followers, I'll do a mini painting stream. How about that?
There you go, people. That's
She
an
said
announcement.
it. Yeah, I said it.
She said it.
Yes, I said it. So if you want to hop off, Maddie, because I know you probably have stuff to do and stuff to prep, so you can jump off if you want.
I need to order a pizza. Yes.
Oh, go do it! don't make me stop you. But thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate it. I will link you or send you the YouTube video when I'm finished with it, editing all the holes.
And an address, yes.
Yes, and an address. But thank you so much.